Yeah, I feel like sometimes the East games can be kind of finicky. And this looked okay initially, but now it seems to be giving some issues. I'm gonna skip this again. Is it because I skipped this that it had issues? I think it's just because I skipped it. It had issues. Now it's fine. Just play with the sounds a little bit. Audio sounds okay. Let's give it a shot. Let's see how we feel about it. So we're going to try a very brief look at the Legend of Heroes, and we get to decide, I guess, how we feel about it at the end. Let's switch to this, and it should show up in a second. There we go. Give it a shot, chat. So we have normal, hard, and nightmare. Given that I don't know how the game plays, we're just gonna leave it on normal. If I feel bored, maybe we'll go back and raise it. Oh, actually, sorry, actually, I'll let it play out. So it looks like no voices so far. We have a girl named Estelle going, Daddy's really late. Something about the guild that he'll be home late today. Garrett's gone traveling around the kingdom with some kind of training. I'm so bored. Maybe I'll just practice with my staff. We have a staff user, essentially. I was gonna say these are very classic East looking portraits. Yeah, hopefully Rena's watching. If he's not, you know, we'll start it up officially. I just want to see how I feel about the opening of the game. Let's see. So Daddy's home. Cassius is saying, "Sorry to have kept you waiting, Estelle. Did you take good care of the house while I was away?" Of course I did. Did you run into any trouble, Daddy? Didn't get hurt fighting the bad monsters, did you? He's as fit as a fiddle. Oh, he's about to be as dead as every other father in these JRPGs, chat. That reminds me, though, I brought you a present. Uh-oh, what kind of present? A new fishing pole? Sneakers? Something for training? Uh-oh, he's saying maybe I raised you wrong. The little girl's supposed to like clothes and jewelry. Oh, Cassius, that's messed up of you. He likes pretty clothes, but they get dirty, and jewelry breaks when you go play with it on outside. So, got some kind of blanket. For Estelle, exactly. So he's got something in the blanket. It's a... Okay, chat, that is kind of unintentionally really funny. They're like, I got a present for you. Look, it's another human. It's your gift now. Like, what? Father, I don't think that's how gifts work. I don't think you could gift other people human beings. I would want him too, Estelle. Yeah, it's like, you've come of age, Estelle. I went into the village and just kidnapped some small child. Like, what? Cassius, do you want to... I don't think that's how dating works. Yeah, why is her present a boy? Estelle, I would get very mad at this. Even he's still alive. What? I will have to say, for a cold open of the game, I'm kind of lost. I am not really sure why they brought a boy home like that. You got me. 1 second. Just want to update the game. I think that's the correct game. Don't want to lie to people. 1 second. It is Trails in the Sky. Just wanted to verify. Okay, we're good. Yeah, we'll play again. But I'm just kind of curious. I just want to see what the combat is like. What about if you wouldn't mind heating a kettle of water of stove, I'd appreciate it. Okay. I thought Ninja Baseball Batman was the weirdest thing we saw all day, and Ping is like, no, it still is. Okay, so I'm not gonna read the dialogue as much. As I said before, I'm mostly just sampling the RPG to see how I feel about it. Is he an illegitimate child or something? Did you betray mommy? Okay, I like that line, chat. That one's pretty good. Racer business. Waking up. Okay. The game is slowly trickling and feeding us some things. His eyes are apparently the color of amber. I don't know if that has any importance. Hmm. We apparently jump on the bed. So our last name is Bright. Let's see what else we're kind of picking up from this. Apparently the boy wanted to die, but we rescued him for some reason. He's not very happy with us. And we're very bossy with him. Probably about as much importance as color battles here. You're right, chat. Okay, so we don't know the boy's name. Are we actually going to name him, or is he just going to remain unnamed for now? Okay, so I think we... Oh, it's fading to black. Are we getting a name entry? Oh no, we're just skipping ahead? Sure, okay. Leave us in suspense. Amber Eyes, he's a protagonist. The apocalypse is near. Maybe, chat. Yeah, we got our classic swordsman. Makes sense. I was gonna say, somebody had to be the swordsman. So I see we're in a somewhat futuristic setting. We got airships and guns. Chaz asking, can it be a JRPG without a swordsman? I'm trying to think about if I played a JRPG that had 0 swordsmen. That's pretty difficult. Like, even in fantasy settings with guns, there's always usually one person with a sword. Every time, chat. It's very difficult. Thinking about it. See, I don't know if I want to count something like Pokemon because you just don't have weapons in general, and indeed there are sword Pokemon on top of that. Given long enough, it'll go into it. But in like ones where you actually attack, almost always you have a sword. If it's like a summon-based game, it's not technically needed, because then you could technically say some Shin Megami Tensei games do that. But even then, like, there's something has a sword, inevitably. So I said the graphics remind me of, I want to say East 4. No, I'm sorry, East 3 specifically. The character portraits remind me of that with the the open Falgana. I say it has that look to it. But the way the characters are kind of modeled reminds me a little bit of E6 a bit more. They had the kind of like almost like I want to say it's like almost claymation. Like how would you describe that, Chad? It's not just like it's not safe enough to say like CG. There's like a specific roundness to the characters. Yeah, it does look very Felgana in general. I agree. But it might be closer in graphics to 6. It's between the Oath and Falgana and 6 for sure. It's interesting because it said there are voices. Maybe it just means voices in combat, which is fair, I guess. So I want to at least get to like the combat portion of the game to see how I feel. Right now we're kind of having like a weird open, you know, we just kind of just random stranger invited to the house, we nurse him to health, and we presumably have a kind of love-hate relationship with him. Maybe we treat him more like a brother now, I guess. To be seen. Final Fantasy IX is what it makes you think of. I don't know about that. I definitely feel like the East games are a lot closer. Plus, it helps it's the same company. And the way they do the portraits, I think, is the same artist as the people that did the portraits there. I don't know if I agree with 9 specifically, though. But if you're talking about proportions of the characters, I don't know. They look more human proportioned. I feel like in that game, they were, like, ultra cheapy. Yeah, 9 is the one with Zidane. Jade Cocoon has Iron Sword as a weapon. Chat's really trying hard. Like, I don't remember if there are weapons in Legend of Legaia or if it's all fist moves. That might be the closest I can think of, where it's both an action JRPG and I don't think there's swords. But there are sword enemies, presumably, at some point. I don't know if we count that. But I also said protagonist. Well, chat said protagonist in general. Her favorite song is the one that is the title theme of the game, the Where It Felt to Blade, apparently. Does anybody use a sword in Shadow Hearts? Is that your question? Yeah, Bored Vampire has a sword. That's what your question is. Unless you're talking about Coldeka, in which case, yes, even in Coldeka. Fetish for sport shoes. What a strange line. You can't escape swords. I was gonna say, chat, I'm trying to think about it. Any game that doesn't have the swordsman protagonist. It's okay to have a swordsman antagonist. But if it is specifically a character you could play with, or you summon something that has it, I will count it as the protagonist on your side. I know, chat. This is the real question. If somebody can actually name a JRPG that does it, I'll reward them points. Points are on the line. Super Mario RPG. Maybe? Yeah, I guess like the Super Mario games count. I don't know if I consider those JRPGs though. I guess they technically are. I don't know. It's kind of like if you're gonna count like the Partners in Time, for example, even those Mario and Luigi games, like you technically don't have a sword. But I'll give you points later for it, I suppose. The first one was the JRPG. The villain was literally a giant sword. First of all, if we're just saying swords in general, that one fails immediately. The final boss is a giant sword. I don't know. I don't know how to be more literal about it. Yeah, I'm aware of what Ping is saying. I just mean in general, like, I don't know if I consider those, like, JRPG style. They're very different than anything else. I almost consider it's its own genre. But if you want to count it as a JRPG, then I guess all of those games count. Like, not just the SNES game, but, like, Paper Mario, for example. The later ones were made by somebody who hates RPGs. You know what? I felt that way playing, what was it on the 3DS? The Paper Mario game on the 3DS? I feel like that game was definitely designed by people that did not like gamers. Between, like, you potentially going into a swamp for 20 minutes only to realize you don't have the sticker needed to progress, or, like, the whole sticker system. It's gross. Yeah, Sticker Star. That was your introduction to Paper Mario. I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't think I ever had nostalgia for Paper Mario. I remember playing the SNES Mario, and I remember really enjoying it. Then I went to play Paper Mario, and I'm like, oh, it's just like the other game, but not as good. That's just how I felt when I played the 64 version. I'm like, oh, they tried to make it like super comedy, and it didn't really jive with me. I'm like, I liked it more when it was like teaming up with Bowser and things like that. So we're still in Cutscene Central. We're being scolded for being forgetful. And something terrible has not happened to the father figure, surprisingly. But we'll give it time, chat. We might be jumping the gun. I fully expect this house to be on fire and the father to be dead any minute now. Kind of saying it's a mix of not wanting Mario to be like character van Yahoo, it's me, and the guy making them really hate RPGs to the point where it makes the points into. Kind of. I just feel like the mechanics were just really not solid in the later ones. I think the first Mario and Luigi game was fine, but I didn't really like the sequels that much. Yeah, in general, I was just trying to think about if there's other kinds of RPGs. If we're ignoring like a Nintendo property, for example, what else would be there? Something called Orb, and then okay. Okay, we got different specials. Let's learn about our characters. He doesn't have as high strength as Joshua does. And she's slower. She has more defense. Oh, she just kind of sucks. I hope she gets better skills. She's literally Joshua, but worse with the stats. I thought she would at least be faster or something. I don't really... That doesn't look like a good stat compensation for us. Oh, we can't just rob the treasure chest? I'm disappointed. Anyway, we were tasked to go pick up the news from a general store. We were given 500 in Mira, and we are moving so fast. We don't seem to have a jump button, and we move really fast by default. We'll continue on for now. Took their last name, something like that, chat. We got some kind of system mechanic for super attack. It's something about S-brake. It's like we can rotate the map with the L1 and R1 button. Yeah, and the game moves really quickly. I kind of miss jumping around after playing East, so like my instinct is to hit that button. So we'll see if we get into open combat on the way there. Like, is it turn-based? Is it random encounters? Do we bump into things on the field? Find out, chat. So we have a choice to kind of go wherever we want, at least at the moment. I don't know if the game will stop us from going this way. Oh, it will. I was just curious. So I was paying attention. I knew where to go, but I was curious if the game would let me go off the beaten path. The answer's no. Okay, so we have a world map button. Pretty big area. We could get a sense of the scope of the game. We'll probably be looking at each one of these places. Also, I like that there's a place just called Elmo. We're gonna go visit Elmo at some point, chat. Earthbound, you don't remember any swords. That's a good example. That's a good one. That one is undeniably JRPG. Although you said masked man, I don't know what that means. Is that the original Earthbound? There's somebody called Masked Man with a sword? I don't remember that. Unless you're talking about one of the later ones, then I didn't play those, and that's fine. I'll just take chat's word for it then. Oh, Mother 3. Well, that would be why I didn't play Mother 3. I don't know, chat. See, those kinds of games, I don't know, they just never click with me. I understand, like, where the appeal is with it, but, like, them as a game, I did not really enjoy, if that makes sense. Or at least the first Earthbound, I did not like. I remember thinking to myself, geez, this requires a lot of grinding if I don't want bosses to just insta-kill me. Okay, so I still don't know what ornaments are, but presumably they augment the character. Right now they're just locked, so I can't do anything with them. Yeah, there is a lot of dialogue. So I would also have to consider that from like a full streaming perspective of the game. There are a lot of lines of dialogue in this game. I feel like this would wear me out. Can't rob this small little child. How unfortunate. Yeah, I heard a lot of good things about Mother 3, so if you have a general interest in it, I'm sure it'll be great. I will let you know. I'm not one of those people with interest in it. So unless chat, like, bribes me with something, I probably won't play it. It kind of falls into the it's too wacky for me game, so I just find it very off-putting. Like when I'm trying to get into the game and it's like very tongue-in-cheek the whole time and very meta, and I'm just like, that doesn't motivate me to continue playing, because I'm like, if the characters themselves don't really have a good motive, then I am not as invested in the story overall. Alright, let's buy the thing that they wanted. Yeah, the liberal news. Alright, so we're not able to get it because we have to wait until noon. I didn't see where the training ground was relative to us, but presumably we just leave. I don't think there's anything else we can do. Yeah, they keep talking about how it's the last day of training. They're saying I should go over to the guild. I was just there, though. Unless I have to go to the guild again. I didn't go to the general store. Oh yeah, I'm not gonna lie, chat. This is a lot of dialogue for talking to, like, one townsperson. I feel kind of overwhelmed by this. Oh my. That was like at least 32 dialogue boxes just for talking to somebody at the top of the weapons store. That is like, that is a lot, chat. That would be like as much as talking to some people in general. Oh, I have to go upstairs. That's what I did. Okay, that's fair. Yeah, it's very dialogue heavy. Yeah, so I feel like if a game is like very dialogue heavy in general, I prefer it to be on the shorter length, and this does not seem like a short game. So I'll think about it. She has tarot cards. Never a good sign when she talks about the hangman. Other 3 times to get more serious. We'll see. As I said before, like, I don't know, like, just if it has like a lot of the tones from the Earthbound on the SNES, I only got so far before like I had like an overload. I just could not physically take any more fourth wall joke characters. Just like, can we stop? Like, if you want me to care about these characters, you gotta do something else. So we're learning to become a bracer, so let's see what that actually involves. I'm just gonna speed read through this because I feel like this is just a lot of fluff for how we... It didn't actually describe how to use them in combat. I'm a little concerned. Yeah, bracers are just regular adventurers hired by the guild, that's fine. Okay, so Septium is the mineral that is important. That's why they mine it, and it goes towards the orb stuff. Got it. My summary of all that information. Alright, so let's see what combat is like. I'm assuming this is what they mean by the practical training. Yeah, this is very plot heavy, comparatively. I mean, that's good for people that are definitely invested in these characters. I would say at the moment, I am not. I am kind of interested in Scheherazade as a character, but she is more the mentor at the moment. Wrong button to talk. I feel like I'm with Estelle on that bottom one. This does sound like it's gonna be a pain. So this is gonna be a notebook to keep up with story events, essentially, and/or tutorials. I mean, this game is kind of over-explaining the beginning. Like, I've played so many games like this, so I just kind of feel like the urge to actually have something happen. Hopefully this is just the beginning of the game. I want to get past this part where we're out of Tutorial Central. Like, the whole idea of taking the bulletin with, like, the short, long durations, I mean, that's directly from Ys. So, like, I've already played this before. I understand what to do with this. It's fine. So, again, coming from the perspective of I've played a JRPG before, I feel like this is really, really over-explained. Because I didn't actually learn anything new from it, other than, like, a little bit of lore with the Septium. I think that was the closest to something that might be plot relevant in the future, as well as, like, the Oracle Factory. But then, like, how to actually do things in combat, I wasn't actually told. That was, like, the only thing I was interested in. It's kind of unfortunate. Right. So this is a very long tutorial. I will attempt to summarize. Okay, so basically we can get all of our abilities through the slots. These slots are going to be kind of like materia, where they give stat boosts or different kinds of magic. But kind of like how there's different weapons with different chains and combinations in Final Fantasy VII, there will be different combinations of orbments we could combine, and it's dependent on the character. So some people might have certain affinities due to the connections. So they are also kind of elemental in nature. And also mentioned that there's fixed slots where we might only be able to put certain types in there. And there's apparently 7 different types of materia/ordnance. Learned everything I wanted. Like, it was a lot of tutorial stuff. Listen, I'm gonna make it very simple. The game is trying to explain a lot of different things there. I'm like, listen, it's Final Fantasy VII materia, and I just have to break down things as needed to form different ordnance. Got it, it's fine. Okay, so we can... Yeah, let's talk to him and figure out what we can synthesize. But I have enough... Epith. So I see the cost on the bottom left, but I'm not sure why it made me go to him. Oh, maybe it wanted me to go to Quartz. Well, that made a little more sense. I thought they wanted me to open a slot. I misread. So I can make one of each of these, I guess, is what they're trying to say. Might as well just do it. There's a lot of in-game currencies. We get 1 per elemental type. But need potentially a lot of Septith. Upgrade the slot. Okay. That's a lot of things to look at. Let's make it simple. wants me to do something with the quartz. Sorry, more time. Look at the arts and quartz charts in your bracer notebook in order to figure out which quartz you need to install. Okay. I mean, I could see I had a fire move. I kind of just want to do my own thing. Like, I can remove the quartz. If they want me to heal, for example, probably one of these is what they want. So, I tried setting it up the way I wanted to play, and she's just like, no, you need a healer. And I'm like, but just one... Okay, fine tutorial. I understood what to do from there, but it's just like, okay. Oops, not what I meant to do. Oh. They didn't give me enough for both characters. They only gave me enough for Estelle. Oops. Well, I guess Estelle's gonna get all the bonuses. You do as you say, free will is a lie, and then I'll say it the tarot cards. Something like that. So yeah, I would definitely say pacing of the game. We skipped over the important, interesting part, and we went to Tutorial Central. It's kind of unfortunate. Like, are we just not going to explain anything about Joshua? We're just gonna time skip and not talk about that? We're just friends with him now? Oh, were you really? Oh, I thought they were almost joking at first about the sewers. Oh no, chat, we are going into the sewers. Oh no. Well, we got healing items in a monster book. That's fine. I know, chat. Come on. I understand. Listen. I would say for me, they are way too talky. I'm like, we're still in tutorial. We could talk when something other than tutorial is happening. Okay, so this is what the healing point looks like. That's fine. I guess we could save here. Oh, we very literally rest at the save point. Speaking of which... Oh, you can just kind of save anywhere on the fly. That's good to know. Okay, I can't squeeze past the monster. So I think that's forced. Ah, this is what the combat is like. We have move. Okay, that's kind of interesting. You know, you got your grid-based combat. So if I do select attack, they'll automatically move. That's what I wanted to learn. So if I'm in range, this should just hit them automatically. Fair enough. Apparently this is Cold Deca. You're right, chat. Let's see if that lures him forward. Oh, he didn't even move. Kind of a shame. I guess it is the tutorial fight. They really want to make sure I don't die. Wow, she had surprisingly more range than I thought. Oh, they don't even attack. That's kind of lame. I want to have some threat of death.
Let's move out.
Let's move out indeed. Got juicy bones. Yeah, we are just booking it. Oh, another forced fight. Yeah, there's the voices, exactly, chat. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. Please stop hand-holding me, game. I got it. I don't need a tutorial on using spells. I understand they take time and can hit from a distance. I guess they're both attack-based. That should be fine. The spells have a delay, so this is kind of like Full Deca, chat. I think that's a good example. We have spells take like a certain amount of charge turns. So it's kind of Final Fantasy Tactics in a way, in that sense, I suppose, also. Discount Cold Deca? Oh, that's harsh. Crisp onion. Battle music is interesting. I'm not sure. I mean, they could have used it in their other games. But I don't have craft points. Oh, unless it just unlocked it. Oh, it's unlocked it.
Come on.
So I like that there's kind of like alternate uses of the meters. Music's kind of nice. I like that you could see the enemy weaknesses and their conditions. I think that's a good sign from like an RPG standpoint. Well, they finally attacked us. Good.
We're good to go.
Feels like some of the slower points in Sonic Adventure in the music. Sort of a jazzy swing feel. I'm gonna take your word for it, because I have heard very little / have not played Sonic Adventure. But we are just super booking it. I'm not allowed to get past this point. So I had a feeling we could do something once the CP gauge is full. Which is fine. Did I really whip that? That sucks. Press the brake button. You're not giving me commands I understand. What is the brake button? You need to give me a controller input. Don't tell me about the keyboard. I don't have a red button. What is it talking about? Oh, I needed to hit the D-pad to get it to trigger. Got it. I'm just like, it's like, hit the brake button, and I'm like, what button is that? Apparently, I had to hit D-pad and then confirm for future reference, chat. Can I just choose not to use the CP and just save it for later? I think I'd rather do that. Lots of juicy bones. Suddenly Valkyrie profile, something like that. Also, I keep hitting that because that's the instinct for me to use it. Okay, that's how I sleep. I think we're almost done with this area. Not sure I follow the turn bonus thing. Oh, there's quite a lot of enemies here. Interesting. So that does add a bit more complexity to it. I kind of like that, but I'm still kind of getting used to the game, so I'm not as certain how to feel about that. I think I just want to attack the first people just to eliminate their turns. I want to unleash her pummel. I don't know if it works on these characters, but I could just delete this guy.
Here I come.
I don't know who that'll give the turn bonus to. Oh, it gave it to my ally. Okay, so that was kind of working as intended. Yeah, it is very dialogue heavy. So yeah, I just got bonus arts from that. As well as end the fight. See what happens afterwards. Oh, we weren't strong enough. So close. Move just a little bit closer. We'll end turn. Now that I've stalled, I got more healing. Yay. I was just out of range. How unfortunate. Should have waited another turn. Oh, I got a turn before him. That's convenient. Nice.
Alright, we're good to go.
The skills is clock up, Common Rider flashbacks. So many monster parts. So we're not allowed to look at the contents of the box. Presumably that's how we're gonna pass over the healing area. Let's just go ahead and advance. See if anything happens once we complete this ceremony. Then we'll give some thoughts on the game, I think. So we got a little bit of a taste of the combat. That's mostly what I wanted to test. It took a while, but we got there eventually, chat. So, I wonder if this is going to be a common occurrence where I have to constantly go back to the guild counter. It's kind of unfortunate if that's how the game is going to advance. So, I mean, like, it's in, like, every... Not every, but it's in a lot of RPGs. I don't find that particular angle of plot very interesting, so I'm hoping it's more of a... If you want to choose side stories... or like optional things to get money, you do this. Not like every time I want to do the plot, I have to go here. I hope it's not like that. Like, the game is explaining to me how to report quests. Like, I don't need it to. That's cute, I guess. Right, and we have different guild rankings depending on how much we clear. Then we get different missions depending on what rank we are. I mean, this is pretty standard stuff. I don't really want the game to explain that to me. So I'm just curious, like, what is the plot motivation of the game? So far we've sat through an actually admittedly interesting start because it was just so bizarre. Like, just the series of events had me interested. It's losing me a bit on the tutorial because this tutorial is going on for a long time. I'm like, I want the actual plot event. Like, is there going to be an enemy nation invading? Are we going to be set as, like, political envoys? Are we going to carry something that's, like, extremely, like, rare or something and we lose it? Like, what is the plot hook to get us interested as a new player? I feel like the game is taking a little long to get there. I mean, like, inevitably we were going to become members of the Bracer Guild. Like, this is fairly straightforward. I'm not really surprised by that. But it's like, what happens from there? Is the father's home gonna be burned down? Like, what's gonna happen, chat? Should a dialogue text box in the sky? Something like that. I mean, they are floating in the air. So I'm like, I just want the game to give me the hook. And I feel like when we're comparing this to, like, other JRPGs, that's kind of like what the important thing is. Like, think about, like, really common and famous RPGs without going into super plot details. But you have things like a Final Fantasy IV, which is, like, very interesting in the way it's set up, where you fly in on the airships and you start more as a villain and you get your hook. You're kind of like, you're the bad guy, you go through kind of like a disillusion period, and the whole point of your character arc is redemption. And that's introduced to you within the first, like, 45 minutes. You get a feel. I'm like an hour into this, and I'm like, I don't know what our motivation is other than they say they want to become these things. But I'm like, to do what? Like, we want to become like our father to explore? I'm kind of struggling to feel like what drives our characters at the moment, other than we've gotten this thing that is, you know, obvious for plot reasons we have to get. But I'm not feeling it from, like, a character motivation standpoint. So, like, they could talk all about Scheherazade all they want, but I'm like, but what are you going to do with it? Like, what is your big dream? Like, you gotta tell us, game. You gotta tell us something about one of these characters. I mean, you were hesitant to even tell us the name of Joshua for some reason. You left us on the anime cliffhanger for his name. So I guess we're just gonna report back to the dad. But we could probably go get the news now. Maybe? They became bracers and still achieved their dream. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. Some RPGs prefer to have a slower start. I guess, but I mean, like, the ones that, like, pull me in are the ones that give me that character motive. Like, even in something like even in something like a Skyrim, like, something crazy happens within, like, the first 15 minutes, which, I mean, might be too soon for expectations, but even compared to what I would consider a much slower game, like Tales of Symphonia, which I probably won't play on stream, honestly, that game takes a while to get into the plot. But I feel like even from the first 30 minutes, I understood what they were attempting to do, other than to go with, you know, to be a bracer or something like that. Like, we haven't had the life-changing event, I guess is what I'm getting at. It's not even really hinting at what it is yet. So we're mostly just picking fights with the small children. It's not really motivating me to continue with these characters. So, like, she's getting dunked on by little kids. So that's all I really have to say about her at the moment. Let's start JRPGs to have a strong hook from the game, the Xbox ones. Blue Dragon started off with you kid fugitively wanted to try and lynch specifically unless I started with the characters surviving something impossible and Turtle Sonata started by watching her. Yeah, I mean, normally there's some kind of hook at this point, right? Like, I understand, like, it's trying to teach me a little bit about the world, but it's like, I don't know what our character's place it is in it yet. And then, like, if you want to flip it on its head, where I feel like games just didn't work for me, and, like, in general, those games had problems, like, you gotta look at something like what is it, Final Fantasy 12 with Vaughn. Like, it takes forever for Vaughn to have anything to do with the story. And kind of like in that one, you just go into the sewers and fight rats. And I'm like, I'm supposed to feel motivated by this character? I'm supposed to like this character? But with this, it's like, okay, we've become part of the guild, and we're just kind of doing whatever Father says. I mean, like, maybe chat is aware of this or maybe not aware of this, but I like more independent characters. So having to really kind of toe the line is kind of annoying. Okay. Got a recipe book. Because you could remove on and nearly nothing would change. I mean, exactly. That's what I'm talking about. I missed the beginning part of the conversation. But yeah, I mean, that's what I'm talking about. That's where I feel like the story doesn't work. So, like, if this didn't happen, like, what would have changed in the first hour of the gameplay? Not much so far. Like, they're just explaining to me things that are just common concepts in other JRPGs. Like, I haven't learned anything about these characters other than, like, their relationship with one another, but I don't find them endearing at the moment. Like, again, like, the driving factor to me is, like, what are they looking to do? Why are they looking to do things differently? Like, she's a tomboy. That's going to be, like, the kind of ongoing joke is that she's not as talented as, let's say, Joshua, and people make fun of her for that. But, like, I want to know, like, what does she want to do? And like, we're past the hour point at this point, and I still don't know what she wants to do. Like, that was basically like, I've achieved my life dream, like chat was saying, and I'm like, I don't know how serious that was, but I'm serious in that she achieved her goal already, so I'm not sure what it wants us to do next. Okay, so it's just distinguishing that there's two different types of meals. We can eat food at restaurants, or we can take stuff to go. What happens if I just go back to the father with the news? Do they get mad because we didn't complete our training? I think so. Chat, I tried to advance the plot. The game was like, no. Oh, did they go missing in the mines? That's a classic JRPG trope. Please tell me they didn't go missing in the mines. Oh, they went to the tower. Sorry, it wasn't the mines. So maybe something will happen in the tower and that'll drive the plot, maybe? Yeah, I mean, Ping's right. I mean, generally the Final Fantasy games have a strong hook. Maybe not so much the very early ones. Like, when you say as a series, I would say maybe from 4 onwards. I don't know if I could say the same thing about, like, 1 and 2 and 3. I actually no, I'm not gonna bash 2. 2 I feel like was a stronger game than I feel even 4/5 could be at points. Yeah, we did end up in East. Yeah. Yeah, 2 probably had the most plot. 1 and 3 had, like, no plot whatsoever. I feel like 5 was just overly long, and I feel like if they had abridged it slightly, I probably would have liked the game a bit more. Yes, Chad, we're eventually going to a giant tower at some point, but I'm just gonna explore a little bit. Are there any hidden items in the town? But you could like barely see anything back here. I don't think you're supposed to walk back there, but that's fine. Whatever. But I know what you mean. Like, I mean, just like compare it. Like, I mean, like that's the kind of point. That's why games do that. Oh, it did want to. Okay, so we can't just go back to the father. Permission denied, chat. I feel like I'm having fusion. I'm having fusion flashbacks. Like, hold on, chat. We didn't get permission from Adam to go into that gate. Fine. I guess I'll go back the way that it wanted me to go. It's at the northwest gate. 6 is fairly decent with Terra in the mech. I mean, 6 is really good. 7 was really good. 8 I did not like. 9 I can't really say anything on. 10 was so different between like the different portions that I think that did make it interesting. So this is kind of like if you get lost, you can open up the notebook and see what to do. So, I mean, this is a game you can kind of pick up and put down as needed, which is not a bad thing. But, I miss kind of jumping around the overworld, not gonna lie. I mean, I'm seeing all these monsters, and I'm like, I don't really want to fight these. I'll take the chest, though. Right, chat? I'm like, oh, okay. If I don't have to fight them, I mean, that's always a good thing. What happens if I just go straight there? Is it gonna get mad at me? Okay, some of them do give chase. Otherwise, it's gonna say this is gonna be a very combatless session. Just like, it's okay. Oh, I bumped into it by accident. Or did we, chat? Oh, they can bump our party members? Ew. Ew. I don't like that at all. We're actually dead. Oh, we didn't die, surprisingly. Oh, no. Hi, chat. I don't think I talked about this before, but one mechanic I really don't like is when your AI partner can be interacted with anything in the overworld. That is such a turnoff for me. I absolutely hate it. Because he's gonna be like trailing behind me always, and who knows if he gets stuck on something stupid and forces me into combat. Ew. And think about like if I have more than just these two people, how annoying it's gonna be to avoid encounters. Like there, I bumped into him. Yeah, not a fan of that at all. Case in point, I got into combat just trying to ignore them. Also, why does cancel not always cancel the menu? Does that have like another purpose? That also weirds me out in the menus. Like whenever you hit something that should be undo, and I hit it like 4 times there, it didn't like undo right away. It's kind of weird to me. We found the mines. So we're not allowed to do anything here. I was just curious if there are early items we could get, but apparently not. Joshua is a liability. I'm like, listen, I would not be getting into combat if he was not here. Like, maybe I could... I still don't get to go first. It sucks. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, we move pretty quickly. I could sort of react to their icons a little bit. The tower is more... I'm not gonna lie. All I wanted to do, I just wanted to cancel the menu and I immediately got hit by somebody that spawned in. That is kind of unfortunate. Wow, that doesn't kill them? Oh, we're so dead, by the way. We're actually gonna game over here. Unless we run. Huh. Well, that was a random difficulty jump. Oh, and she stays dead. Oh. Well, that's kind of annoying. Presumably, she can't even use heal magic because she's knocked unconscious. She can? Wait, she can heal even though she's unconscious? How does that work? What? I mean, I'm just gonna reload, but I'm just like, oh, okay. This is fine. Oh, come on. Yeah, the game really wants me to farm. I'm not into farming. And unfortunately... Unfortunately, it also doesn't like to show me the enemies. I know it said like they'll load in, but I don't like how transparent they are. It is actually kind of hard for me to see on this monitor, like where they are. Like I see it when I'm like super close to them. Like if I reload here, can I even see them from where they were? Oh, I could barely see them. Yeah, like see, he's still transparent there. He has to be like literally next to me to be solid colors. That kind of sucks. So yeah.
Sorry.
It looks like it's very hard to avoid this from occurring, I'm not gonna lie. We saved it kind of a weird spot, and due to the fact that we are a 2-member party system, and they keep bumping our partner, that is really annoying, actually. Case in point. Just kill my character. Let's do the game over, chat. We'll go to game over. Just kill me. So again, like I don't like babysitting multiple characters. So let's see what happens if we game over. Do we get a retry? Let's find out. We do get a retry. And that just starts it from the very beginning. Okay, fair enough. So I think I will stop here. We'll talk about the game a little bit. There are so many recipes. Okay, that's how you get the other map. Interesting. I'm gonna exit for now. Let's have a little chat. Listen to this music as we chat. Yeah, retry is actually convenient. So, hey, we got to test that. So, thoughts and feelings. I really do not like combat where it is initiated by partners touching people. That was one of the biggest turnoffs for me in Earthbound, and the fact that this game does it, I will say will probably be a hard pass for me. If it was just one character on the overworld, I think I'd be fine with it. But the fact that, like, we could potentially have 4 or 6 or 8 people, and any one of their dummy thick skulls could bump into an enemy will annoy me to no end. I will not be able to get through this game just from that alone. That alone would literally tilt me off the face of the planet. So I don't think I'm going to continue the game on stream. Will I continue it off stream, I guess, in general? Maybe. I don't know. I mean, as I said before, it didn't really hook me in the first, like, good hour or so of gameplay. I mean, how long did we take on that? Yeah, that was 1 hour and 2 minutes, to be fair. Like, it was literally 1 hour and 2 in-game. So I'm not exaggerating. So I feel like... I don't know. Oh, Reen, you did miss it? That's a shame. So, I don't know. Like, we were 1 hour in. Like, we started vaguely getting a plot that would go to the main portion of it. But, I don't know. I think the turn-based combat is interesting. You know, I kind of like games that play with the turn order. So I've always had this philosophy, chat. I don't know if I've discussed this before, but I will not play a very generic turn-based game unless it is extremely fast or it's not the focus of the game. So, like, I do not want to go back and play a Final Fantasy IV or a Final Fantasy VI, even though I like the story of those games, because I am just so burnt out on traditional turn-based games. I am, like, so overwhelmingly done with turn-based games, it's not even funny. I think I just played way too many back-to-back. So the fact that this game does something a little different, so it's kind of like Final Fantasy X did something a little different with turn-based combat, where you could swap people on the fly. and kind of like figure out strategies based off of what you're fighting, even though I feel like the end of the game got way too easy and that entire mechanic became irrelevant. I feel like this game at least gives you things like the different bonuses, and you have some reason to pay attention to turn order, and it looks like there's some actions to manipulate turn order, so it seems a little more interesting in that sense. Unconscious people being able to heal is illogical and honestly welcome. Yeah. But I think the problem with it is, like, I don't think it was the gameplay that turned me off necessarily. I think it was mostly just the plot so far. Like, as going an hour into the game, it did not pull me in whatsoever. Like, we had a conversation about it. It's like, I think I know what it wants me to do, but I'm also not interested in doing a lot of grinding, and this game had a really big difficulty jump between the sewer fight and this one. So I'm assuming it wants you to just kind of test out combat for a while, like a while, and that also has no appeal to me. So I would not be interested in doing it. Now, would I take it up as like a speedrunning challenge if somebody had a guide where you could get through with minimal combat? Maybe. That's how you could get me interested in the game again. Speedrunning it. Maybe. With some of the mechanics a bit better explained. I would consider it. But yeah, like, again, like, we achieved our entire life purpose in the first hour of the game. Throw hands up in the air. Like, what are we supposed to do? So, I don't know, chat. Not feeling it. But you know what I will say, though, chat, is that for different games we're going to play on the stream later, I do feel like I might revisit Rune Factory 4, because they are eventually going to be doing a Steam release. So I'd be interested in doing that one in general. They're not beginner-friendly story-wise. I mean, like, I feel like if this was the cold open, if I had like an hour, which is what we basically did, an hour to kind of get into the story and for it to sell me on it, it did not sell me on it. It was about 40 minutes of tutorials. And that was with me being very generous and skipping through the tutorials. It was 40 minutes of tutorials. So for me, I'm just kind of like, I've played games like this before. I don't need it to handhold me there. And I was more interested in, you know, why did the father rescue the boy? What does the boy have to do with anything? And then it decided that we're gonna make a lot of jokes about her being a tomboy instead. So I don't know. Like, it was like, okay, but then why do I want to play as this character that you're making fun of? I don't get it. Like, what is my hook as the player? Like, you just bashed on Estelle for like 15 minutes of the dialogue. Even in the tutorial, she was getting dumped on. And I'm like, well, that doesn't make me want to play her then. Congratulations, like, mission accomplished. So, I don't know. I feel very mixed with it from that standpoint. Can I see why people like it? Definitely. It definitely looks like the combat will get more involved. I think there's mechanics in it that I think are better than a lot of things that I've played before that are turn-based. I like the ability to steal turns with the S-brakes. I think that could be very interesting as you go through the game. And I like that not only is there the turn order, but you've got like some very basic terrain effects. So I think there is enough there to keep people interested from the combat perspective. But from the plot-wise, I'm gonna give it like a D. I'm gonna give it a D, chat. Yeah, we were still in the friendly nothing wrong yet part of the opening. And the problem is, like, it just kind of hit us with, like, nothing but tutorials. Yeah. So it's just kind of like, eh. And we don't seem to have any free roam. Like, it's weird that we could go to those places now, but we can't do anything with it. So it's not even really interesting to explore either at the moment. And it looks like there's going to be a very big world map. So for people that want to explore, like, this huge world, eventually you should be able to. It's probably going to be fairly linear up until later in the story. I imagine things will open up if we happen to get one of the giant airships we saw. But for now, I think I'll give it a pass. I'll consider off-stream play. But for now, I don't think I'll play it on stream again. We were still at Velvet and the Prickle Boar. But I mean, like, so Chris, when we were talking about this, you can give me very boring, very vanilla tutorial, but you have to give me the hook. You have to give me the hook. So Berseria did make you do the Prickle Boar stuff in the beginning, and yes, it did play it fairly straight for the most part. But the difference in Berseria, if you remember, is it started with her in prison with the giant demon hand and her fight with the werewolf. The werewolf fight doesn't conclude until after the tutorial. But you have like you still had at least something to kind of pull you in. And I feel like this one did not. Like my pull was who is the strange boy in the bed and why did the father bring it there? And then it just skipped that. It skipped all of that to just time skip to go, yeah, we're just going to be in the same guild. And I'm like, oh, that actually would have been more interesting to me. Why did we skip the hook? Okay. So, I don't know. Yeah, exactly, Ping. Usually there's something. Most games have to give you the hook. Like, just compare it to like games that I tend to like more in general, like games I go back to over and over again, like Valkyrie Profile. What an amazing hour introduction to the game. And there's a lot of tutorials in the beginning of Valkyrie Profile. But like the whole setup of like seeing the fantastic Valhalla, being introduced to Odin, and then going into your first soul search and potentially finishing the Arngrim saga within that first hour is like so memorable to me. And it just shows like if you really take the time to do that, you can make the game very memorable, even if there's tutorials. Even if it handholds you, it tells you to press start to meditate. It still keeps you 100% in the game and invested, and you're really curious what's going to happen next. But yeah, this game kind of was like, and then you went into the sewers, and I'm like, okay. Yeah, this game is very, very slow. So I feel like the hook, the quote unquote hook of the game is probably not going to happen for like another hour and a half. And it's like, I'm going to be honest with you, chat. How many times do you play at least 2.5 hours to get to a hook of a game? Like, don't you kind of know before then? Like, people would give Steam refunds within the first hour of playing. I'm just saying, like, you know, even if you double that amount, I don't know if this game will deliver the kind of hook that you're interested in. Like, the only hook that I would say that I saw from the first portion of the game that we played would be the combat, because maybe you're saying like, wow, I really like the combat, and I respect that. If you want to play it for the combat, I totally get it. It definitely looks interesting from that standpoint, especially that mixture of like the tile based movement. Maybe you have to consider the directions because it was talking about, you know, the surprise attack, and that seems really interesting, and I will say that this seems very well done. But for me, I'm a very plot driven character. Action in an RPG is very secondary to me. It just has to be passable. Now, if I play an action game, obviously, then you know my expectations and wants are very different between those things. So for me, I went into this thinking it would be more like a more traditional turn-based RPG. So my emphasis will always be story first. If it happens to have good combat, that's nice. But the problem is like it missed the driving factor for me. So it was like halfway there. So is it the worst game that we've played on stream? No, not by a long shot. Would I be interested in playing it again? Probably not. So yeah, it's just it's a lot of text to kind of take in, and I think it kind of assumes that you will feel attached to these characters. Castlevania 64 thing. It's Castlevania 64. Just it's it is undeniably Castlevania 64. Zero contest. There is no game at all that competes with it. That was one of the worst. It was just it was bad. It was bad. Yeah, that was unenjoyable start to finish. Oh, not true. I liked the music and the title screen, and I think the opening cinematic was interesting, and then it lost me. As soon as it went to gameplay, it was over. I'll be fair with it there. Its soundtrack was not really that great. And it was kind of funny because the song that I did like from the title music, by the way, not for Trails, just to be clear, I'm just talking about Castlevania 64, is funny enough, it's just a rendition of a very popular song. Forget the name of the song because it has like 7 different names, but it's like in Portrait of Ruin, I think it's called like Bloodlines Bequeathed, I think is the name of it. But it's essentially from Rondo of Blood slash Dracula X. And it's like the Bloodlines theme song for Richter. I guess it's the most roundabout way to do it. And that is the title theme for Castlevania 64. It's just a very different take on it. Yeah, like the music seemed fine. As I said before, like the character models were passable. I wasn't like offended at the game. Like I'm not gonna like sit here and hate on it like I'm on a Castlevania 64. But you know, it just didn't appeal to me at the time. But I'm glad I tried it. I got a little sample of it. And as I said before, if I do get bored, I might try it again with a more, I'm not gonna say open mind, because I honestly had a pretty open mind going into this. If I'm willing to sit there for a very slow burn game, I will pick this game up again. But if I want something that kind of pulls me in immediately, this is not going to be the game for me.